Hi, everybody, and welcome to SunBurst Tarot, where today we're going to be taking a look into, are unicorns real, or were they real? Are they something here? Were they a thing? Are they extinct? What's going on? And the such. Or are they just mistaken for animals that are here on Earth today? So, I want to take a look into the topic as I was actually looking through, just looking at the different topics, and I'm like, the unicorns are actually mentioned in the Bible, under Isaiah 34:7, Psalm 22:21, and Deuteronomy 33:17. I just looked this up really quickly as I was just like, oh, what's gonna go on? What's going on? Da, da, da. And I wanted to, and like, they're mentioned in the Bible. So I'm like, they're long known for like throughout mythology and history and the such. And I'm like, are unicorns actually real? And if they are, where are they? And if they aren't, well, what were they originally? What was the story? What kind of happened and the such? So without further ado, let's get into the reading. A quick reminder though, I don't know everything. Everything is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. No facts, my opinion, psychic downloads, and the such. So if you want to use what I am saying to help form your own thoughts, opinions, and conclusions, please do so. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So without further ado, I really want to take a look into what is the general, essentially, are unicorns real? And kind of just go out from there. This has been something that's super interesting to me. I hope everyone else is kind of interested in it. And if you are, let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, share, and let me know you want to see more videos like this, and I can do more. But let's take a look. So, gosh darn it. So, are unicorns real? They came from fossils. What I'm seeing here, it's like these are fossils. Whatever fossils that may be, but fossils. Underground, yeah, this is the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is a very spiritual card as well. Seeing this underground is like, this is like fossilized stuff. Why is this? Because of the Ace of Cups too. Are unicorns real? Or were they real at one point in time? From a material standpoint, hopes and fears. Holy heck. Okay. Okay, so what I'm getting here is, were unicorns, are like the unicorns in what we know them as, the horse with the long pointy horn, with these magical abilities and the such, were they an actual thing here on the earthly plane? This is super weird. I got it. Because, like, what I get from just these two cards, my Queen of Wands and the Ace of Cups, it's like, this is something long, old, buried, old stories. It's so divinely entwined with magic. Why is this? Because the Ace of Cups, it's like some sort of divinity, divining. When I'm seeing this Ace of Cups, it gives me like, this is a scrying bowl. Is kind of the imagery that I get. Also, I cannot get out of my head the Pegasi as well. It's like, you need to look towards the sky. Look towards the sky. That's what unicorns look towards the sky. Because from a material sense here with the Six of Cups, it's like, this is someone remembering something wrong. Something mythicized. Something very, very mythicized. And here's the weird part. If anyone ever wants me to look at human history and like the true human history of like all these kings and the different societies and like how long have humans been around, how long have they haven't, XYZ, let me know. Because what I get here is there's one faction which is like the humans, and then there's another faction which is like non-humans. And from the non-humans came in from a different place, a different location. Don't know where, but they came in from a different place, plane, dimension, however else you want to put it. And in that dimension, they have these mythical beings. They're myths, they're legends, they're Avalon. That's interesting. They're Avalon. If you're unfamiliar with Avalon, Avalon is like the mythic city within Celtic mythology. It's like where a lot of the gods and their goddesses were located. The mysterious city of Avalon in Celtic mythology. And it's like that location, to me, I've always felt was somewhere different. It was a different location, not located on Earth. And that's where it feels like this whole mythology of unicorns comes from. And here's another weird thing I'm going to say. Are unicorns like were they brought here to the earthly plane, but they couldn't really be sustained here? Is what I'm hearing. I hear yes. So how I would like put this into like us normal people terms, you know how Spaniards brought horses over from Europe over into America, and then horses kind of just spread from there. That's what it kind of feels like with the unicorn, but where horses and stallions and all that were able to thrive in the American Southwest and just in America in general, unicorns didn't have that same adaptability, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I was like, it's like, yeah, this is like something that we don't really want to talk about from our past with the Six of Cups here, because from like a material standpoint, over here as well with the hopes and fears, like we have had to walk away from the situation even though we might not have wanted to, because down here as with our unseen obstacles is the Five of Cups, something that we're mourning, something that we've lost. Alongside here with the Two of Cups with this well, it's like if these creatures were something, it's all underground now. There is an actual unicorn on this card, which is why I wanted to use this deck, and I'm not shocked that it came out, because you can see the Two of Cups. This is the negative influence, seeing it reversed. Like, unicorns, in my perspective, were here on Earth at one point in time. Yes, they were a thing. However, it's like they were so... I want to say they're war ponies. like that's what like this other group of people knew them for. They were like war ponies. They were brought here to Earth. They couldn't survive the conditions here due to what X, Y, and Z. And so they had to be put, it's like they didn't survive very well. They weren't adaptable. And so it's like we had to take them underground, or we had to take them to like a system or a place where they could survive and thrive better than like, say, like on like the earthly mortal plane. Because also over here, what was going for this whole situation is the Lover is reversed. It feels like a quarrel between whatever this other group, like the humans versus non-humans. And like that's kind of like the big quarrel here. And like this quarrel, this war, this thing that I'm talking about is before known human recorded history. That's where I'm kind of getting this from. And so like it's all like so mythicized because this is all before modern day human recorded history. Like when this all happened, but it's like there's these mythical stories and these things that were coming in. And it's like kind of where I feel like a lot of these things come from, where it's like there was like these wars or these things that were going on. They're war ponies. That's what unicorns were, they are. They're mythicized war ponies. I don't know why I keep getting that, because down here with the Five of Swords reversed, it's like they just weren't. They were always in a lose-lose situation. It's like these were creatures that were bred for a singular purpose. They weren't adaptable here on Earth, or if they were, there was only a few that got here. Some were stolen, some were bred in, and a lot of them passed because they just couldn't keep up with the earthly conditions. Because here in the future, with the Fool reversed, the bridge is gone. Also, these are very mythical beings. Or like some would say, like from a different dimension, I would say. And that's kind of like, maybe that's what this is kind of like referring to more as like, it's like a different dimensional being. but they weren't compatible with this dimension. Is kind of what I'm getting, especially with the Fool and the rainbow reversed. It's like that bridge, that road, if they could come in or they couldn't in the future and in the past, is like that bridge has been kind of like severed. That connection has been severed because again, they all also are very spiritual creatures, it feels like. Spiritual war ponies is like, but it's like the spiritual aspect of it is that they're energetic creatures, and they like, there's certain environments that like are needed, or like energies that are needed for them to survive or to thrive. An example I would give of this is like, old growth forests. If you look at old growth forests, they have a thriving ecosystem of animals and plant life and all of that. But if you go towards like a more cultivated area, you only see like half of the wildlife. So say you're like in the inner city and like you have a forest there, you might see deer, maybe some turkeys, birds, and like that's kind of it, like in an inner city wooded area. But then if you would say go toward like another place where there's like, it's old, like not old growth forest, but like newer growth forest that hasn't been logged or forested out, you're gonna see deer, turkey, maybe some goat, maybe some coyotes, fish, and maybe if you're lucky, like a beaver, or like not even a beaver, but like I'm in like the northern half of the continent, otters, and like that's what you got, and like that's the old growth forest. And then like say you're going, no, like that's like the new growth forest, and then you go to like an old growth forest where you would have like like you're gonna have beavers, you're gonna have bear, you're gonna have deer, you're gonna have turkeys, you're gonna have birds, you're gonna have pheasants, you're gonna have muskrats, you're gonna have woodchucks, you're gonna have like it's like you keep adding and adding and adding on. And what it feels like to me is that Earth doesn't have like that old growth forest area or those old energy areas where all of this has been cultivated that's needed to sustain unicorns here and now. And that's why we would never see them in today's day and age. There's not enough nature or like magic around for them to be sustained here on this dimensional plane. Okay. So how the heck did we, so that's just like the general energy of like, are unicorns real? Like, yeah, they are, but they are not here. So how did we get them as a story here? Like, how did we get them? Like, where did that story originate? Like, again, I say war ponies, but like, is this an actual thing? So like, how were they used here on this plane then at one point in time? Because again, this feels like before recorded human history, they were here. They were here before human recorded history. So let's see. Let's see. So how did we essentially, why were they here, essentially? They were reflections of something. Why was this the Queen of Pentacles? Okay, so again, going back to that mythical aspect of, they were something, it's almost like they could dimension hop, like these ponies, these war horses, whatever you wanted to call them. They could dimension hop very similar to how I feel like Bigfoot can. If you're like, what, where is that coming from? I'll try and remember to link the reading here at the end of the video. But seeing here with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, this is already giving me like, this is a reflection. How were they here? What were they really used for? Like they are a reflection of our past, of what we used to do. Why is this? Because of the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles being reversed, this is like, I want to deforest these entire areas. Now going back to like those old growth forests, why were they here? They were like old growth forest stuff. They were already an endangered species, but they could dimension hop. Because from a material sense up here with the Three of Cups, it's like thriving ecosystems, thriving locations that have a lot of magic, a lot of nature, a lot of that going for it. Like that's where they thrived. That's where they were located. as a hopes and fears with the Hanged Man. Like there was like they had a community, thriving ecosystems. This community's like thriving ecosystems. There were herds of these as well. Interesting. Where were the herds? Why do I see like Greenland in my mind? Like Greenland, like there were located on Greenland. There was locations in, I don't know if they're in Iceland. Yes. Like if you would find fossils, like that's where you would find these fossils, would be in like Greenland or Iceland. And for some reason, I want to go to the south as well, down into like Antarctica, which is where you would find like where these once were. Different ecosystems, different locations. Like that's where these groups or these schools or these herds of these mythical beings would be, because it's like there were certain points or certain ley lines that crossed where they could dimension hop between one location and the other. But when you take them out of those locations, it's like they get sick, because it's like what's needed to them to thrive is like the energetic being able to dimension hop. It's super weird. And I don't know how else to put this, because like the unseen obstacle here is like, yeah, they have a special glens, 10 of Pentacles, their locations. They could only, you know how you can put a polar bear, you take the polar bear out of the cold climates and you put it into a hot climate and it kind of struggles. That's what this feels like here for unicorns, where it's like if you take it out of these magical places or these specific locations, they don't thrive very well outside of their very cultivated little islands or points where they are. They are very much a subspecies where they thrive in certain climates and environments. And if you take them out of it, they get really sick. They're hard to put into a cage. It's very much like the great whites. You can't put a great white in an aquarium because it just doesn't work. That's kind of what it feels like for unicorns. You can't take the animal or the species out of its natural habitat. Because, yeah, negative influence here. The Knight of Wands. These are cold climate beings, in my opinion. Very cold climate. Climate change. The changing of the climate also was a huge factor in them kind of just going away. Knight of Wands is giving me, just with all the snow in the background, having this be the lynx. They also hop between point A and point B a lot. What's going for them? The Three of Wands reversed. Again, this is giving me like they were also like magical or spiritual creatures. I know that there's like the mythical like unicorn's blood and the horn and doing this and doing that and all these magical properties and the such. And it's like that also was a part of it. They did have healing properties. They did have like their genetics actually like did do medicinal things, and people wanted that, so they almost were like over hunted or over trying to get, because yeah, here in the past, the Hierophant, people didn't commit to this. Everyone kind of just wanted the power for themselves on what they wanted. And then here in the future, yeah, they died out. They died out because people wanted to take them for their own good, their own things, when in reality, yes, they were these beautiful magical things that were treated well and left to their own devices. But then when people went and like over hunted them, they kind of went and kaput. They ended. They're gone. You can't take them out of the environment. You can't put them in zoos until they're no longer around. Weird, interesting. I don't know how else to put that. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think unicorns are real. I think they definitely were. They were overhunted though. Why haven't we found remains or fossils though? It's because where those fossils or remains would be found and or located, they either are in really hard places to get to or they're very unexplored locations. Again, I don't think that this was like, oh, they're being mistaken for rhinos or I forget, there's like another species too, like where they were potentially like old, like woolly mammoth, like I forget, there was another thing that people were like, oh, those could have been unicorns, and maybe they could have been. Like I don't think again, what their fossils are located, they aren't actually like, they're in hard to reach locations is what I would say. So that's what I'm seeing here for Are Unicorns Real and the such. If you want me to do like a more deeper dive, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so very, very much for watching and hope to see you all in the next one. So bye-bye.